Howdy rockers, what's up? It's Pete Thorne. Welcome to the studio from my friends at Source Audio. It's the Atlas compressor. This is a brand new compressor pedal that aims to capture the sound and the feel and the stylings of a whole bunch of different types of classic studio and pedal compressors. There's an optical mode, that's like LA2A classic tube UREI style studio compression. There's an 1176 mode as well, classic super fast attack, solid state compression. There's even a mode that copies a classic pedal compressor, the Diamond optical compressor that uses an LED. That pedal's discontinued, you can't even get it anymore, but you can still get that sound in this pedal. There's a dual compression mode that lets you run compression in parallel or allows you to run two completely separate like audio change through the pedal. Let's say maybe you want to run a compressor in front of your amp and then one in the effect loop as well. So there's a bunch of different ways that you can use this pedal. There's also a bass mode you can switch the pedal into that's optimized for bass guitar. And you can hook up the pedal to your computer and edit and store presets via the Neuro app. I've demonstrated that in other videos before for Source Audio pedals. It allows you to get super deep and just, edit to your heart's content using your computer USB up to the pedal. On the song at the beginning of the video, I opted to just use the pedal and not hook it up to the computer. I just wanted to see in this particular video what I could get out of the pedal like a traditional effects pedal. You pull it out of the box, you plug it in, you try what's on the switch and the knob settings and see where you can get. So I use the optical mode and the studio mode extensively. So that would be like LA2A style compression as well as 1176 style compression for all the parts in that song at the beginning of the video. And there's plenty enough to play around with just on the knobs. You've got a blend control, so you can do parallel compression. You've also got adjustable attack and release. You've got an adjustable output level, as well as a ratio, the compression threshold, as well as the tone of the compressor. So I'm sure you're like, how do you do all that on four knobs? There's a secondary functions button here on the back. And you just push that, this little LED starts blinking to let you know it's in the secondary mode. And that allows you to use the knobs to adjust different things like the tone, the attack, the release, things like that. There's even a noise gate you can enable and then adjust the threshold from when it kicks in. That's really helpful with a compressor because all compressors will raise the noise floor a little bit. So I'm gonna go through the different parts in the song at the beginning of the video and show you how I used the compressor and how much it's adding to the part by turning the pedal on and off, and you can hear how I utilized it. One thing that I noticed about this pedal that I'm going to get into here is just how much compression you can get out of this pedal without getting like a bunch of artifacts where, it jitters or anything like that when you're sustaining a chord. I did a few things in that song in the beginning where I hit a chord and I just let it ring for like an entire bar or maybe 2 bars. So you can really hear the release sound, how it's holding on to the note and just sustaining it out even when I'm using basically clean sounds. Sometimes I like dirty, gritty compressors, but it's always the mark of a studio quality or like sort of a more expensive compressor if you can sustain something and it'll hold out and there's not a bunch of artifacts or jittering going on or any kind of audible distortion when you're letting things ring. Okay, so let's get to it. It's the Atlas compressor from Source Audio. So I'm just cutting a little part in kind of the second half of the intro. We call this a dingleberry part. That's no compression. Parts like this absolutely need compression. And then at the end of the part, I go like this. And you can hear that just sucked the way that I even played that, but also just the way it sounds. When you turn on the compression, it makes it so much easier. And I'm using a ton of compression right now, so there's a little bit of noise too, but it just evens out the whole part and just makes it sit in the track and pushes it forward in a really cool way. And even that last note I can grab, hold on to, and it sustains even though it's crystal clean with no overdrive or anything like that. So right now I'm on the center setting here on the switch, which is the optical setting. And I'm using a pretty long release time, and I did that on purpose so it would grab that last note and I could kind of shake it with the tremolo bar. and it would sustain it out. And I'm using quite a fast attack, so it's really squishing down because I'm picking a lot. So I want the compressor to grab really fast and then just hold on. It kind of just overall level or like even out everything that I'm doing. So for the first lead guitar part in the song at the beginning of the video, I wanted to get a little bit more grit going on the amp. I'm using the Dirty Shirley plugin from Brainworks in UA. So I brought the gain control up on the virtual amplifier up to about 11 o'clock, something like that. So it's got a little bit of grit to it, and this is the sound. What I would consider edge of breakup sound, and I've got let's see, the Echoplex is on with a real lo-fi kind of tape echo happening. Okay, and then so what I'm using the pedal for is to just kind of pump up the sound a little bit and compress, but also add sustain. So I brought the release time up a little, like I made it faster. What would be considered a medium fast release? And then the treble or tone control, I dialed it back a little bit so that it's not boosting highs too much or anything, kind of warming up the sound. And you'll hear what it does right away when I play this. Okay, I'm just about to cut this part using a AC30 style plugin from Nembrini. I cut a stereo pair of DIs. Actually, let's check those out first. I'm going to just play those for you now. I did just straight DI guitar and compressed it quite a bit. Let's give those a listen. Okay, so that sounds really cool, but I still felt like it wasn't in the mix like thick enough. They're doing this nice sparkle thing and DI thing, very direct. But I thought I'd just call up a plugin that basically models an AC30. It's from a company called Nembrini, great AC30 plugin. And so I pulled up a stereo pair of those. So I'm just like having fun here, just layering guitars. So I'm going to do a bed of these, stereo split pair, double tracked. And I've backed down the compression for this part to use it in kind of almost like more like an always on sort of fashion. So in other words, it's just pumping up the sound a little bit and compressing a little bit and adding just a bit of compression to the natural AC30 kind of compression. So without it, it sounds like this right now. Once again, it's my favorite chord, the F sharp 11 to A to B. So here's what it sounds like, this part. So you can hear it is adding quite a bit to the sound, but if you left it on for 30 seconds and played, you'd be like, is it on? Is it off? It's one of those things. So this compressor will work great as that kind of sort of always on box if that's what you're looking for to just pump up your sound. Using the blend control really helps with that because of course you can totally make the signal completely dry or start to blend in the compression at any level. I'll show you what I mean. When the blend is all the way up, it's basically almost exactly the same sound whether the pedal's on or off. And then as you bring in the compression, you're just blending in that compressed signal, but it keeps all the attack and stuff of the direct signal. So it works great as an always on box too, whereas that kind of like transparent, is it on, is it off sort of compressor. Now I'm cutting bass. Once again, I'm kind of using actually maybe even more compression than I normally would using this pedal because I find it's pretty transparent. I can get away with using lots. So without the compressor, my bass sounds like that with it on. I'm playing through my Sir Hedgehog, which is sort of a, loosely sort of Dumble-ish amp. And I'm using drive and everything on the amp. But the interesting thing is, it's sort of got that American overdrive thing going on. It's 6L6s, and, it's based on kind of our favorite amp from Fullerton at the core. What you end up getting when you add compression to that sound, which is already kind of a smoother sort of overdrive, is almost a fuzz-like quality, and it's pretty cool, actually. Like, so it almost makes me think of like something Gilmour would use or something. Like it's got almost kind of a Big Muff style quality to it, because I'm using quite a bit of compression right now. I'm on the center octo setting, and I got the threshold dialed back and stuff, so it's grabbing the notes for sure, and I got the ratio dialed up. And it definitely adds a little bit of noise to the sound, but it's a cool sound nonetheless, and an interesting kind of variation on almost like a fuzz tone-like quality. Thanks for watching my video on the Atlas compressor from Source Audio. Super versatile compressor that you can hook up to your computer, store presets, tweak to your heart's content, get all kinds of different compression sounds going from optical tube style studio compression to super fast 1176 style compression, or more like the Diamond optical compressor. You've got that dual mode where you can hook up two completely different independent compression paths, and a whole plethora of controls on the pedal, and also a plethora of controls within your computer that you can adjust to get any compression sound that you could possibly imagine in your head. You can check it out at the link down there in the video description below. Click there, it'll take you to more info, more videos, all that good stuff at the Source Audio website, all about the Atlas compressor. There's also a Sweetwater link down there if you decide that you want to pick one up. Hey, if you haven't, please hit subscribe, hit the little bell beside the subscribe. You'll get an alert every time I put out new videos. Thanks Source Audio for making cool stuff. Thanks to all you guys for watching, I really appreciate it. I am Pete Thorne. Take care, over and out.